Part 11. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 102. Then, 8 young gangsters got out of the car one after another. At first glance, the other party is not someone to be trifled with. They have tattoos on many places on their arms and necks. He also held all the control weapons in his hands before the end of the world. Oh, she's actually a living person. She's also a girl with the iconic look. The leader was Huang Mao. After seeing Len Ning, a pair of squinting eyes kept scanning her body. He even licked his lips several times, which made Len Ning feel sick. Sister, several men also looked at Len Ning like wolves. It's a pity that I don't have any flesh on my body. I don't know if I can feel it when I have sex, a rough man said with a loud voice. Len Ning frowned suddenly. After the end of the world was in chaos. Except for a few large bases with strict disciplines, few people really followed the rules. There are some small bases and wandering zombie hunters who respect the strong and not only hunt zombies but also survivors. They raped, killed, plundered, and even committed all kinds of evil. After the apocalypse, women are more likely to become zombies because their physical fitness is generally lower than men. Afterwards, zombies attacked normal humans, and the proportion of women eaten or infected by zombies increased again, so that the proportion of women among survivors has been declining. What's even more disgusting is that in addition to the threat of zombies, women also face great threats from the same kind. After the end of the world, the flesh and blood business has become the most profitable business. Human trafficking has even been brought to the fore. Hey, shut up your stinky mouth. Just say some dirty things. Huang Mao quickly calmed down his expression when he saw the 6 oil barrels next to Len Ning were full of oil. Son-in-law, tell my brother. Did you put the oil in the oil barrel? Do you still have anyone? Huang Mao looked at Len Ning with a smile and stepped forward. Don't be afraid, brother is a good person. There are many good things there and he can accept you. Seeing that Len Ning didn't respond, Huang Mao continued to use a coaxing tone. Seeing Huang Mao approaching him, Len Ning finally couldn't help but take a step back. As soon as he retreated, the gangsters on the opposite side immediately began to boo. Boss, why are you going to trouble with a little girl? Let's just tie her up and have fun first. When her accomplices come, let's kill her accomplices directly. Then take this girl hostage to their hiding place and get their supplies, said a strong gangster. That's right, boss, you come first. I'll be second, said a scar-faced man. Why are you second? I am second, said a flowery-armed man in displeasure. It doesn't matter which of you is second, I'll be third. In the blink of an eye, the gangsters started to quarrel. Huang Mao frowned. Why the hell are you making such a fuss? It attracted zombies, so I just killed him, then he said impatiently. The gangsters quickly shut up. Boss, look, brothers haven't touched a woman in more than half a month. A wretched and thin man whispered to Huang Mao. As he spoke, he kept glancing at Len Ning. Huang Mao's face became better and he looked at Len Ning again. Sister, my brothers are all hungry wolves. If you are willing to take us to find your companions, I promise not to move you. If the other party can transport oil in such a large oil drum, they must have a truck that can pull the goods, and they probably have a lot of manpower. Although I don't know why they would let a girl look at the oil drum here with peace of mind, but since they are sure that the other party has a car, he can't let it go. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 103. In this world, having one more vehicle that can pull cargo is a great help to them. But if you don't agree, Huang Mao's expression turned evil again. Then brother, I don't mind letting you be a woman today, then he said lewdly. Looking at this girl, she is only 16 or 17 years old. She is clearly dressed as a middle school student. She may not have been hummed by a man before. Thinking of this, Huang Mao's eyes became even more lewd. Len Ning frowned. I don't want to kill anyone and then said in a deep voice. She had killed countless zombies in her previous life plus this one, but she had never had human blood on her hands. But today, she wanted to break the habit. Hey, this girl has a pretty good tone, the gangsters laughed. Okay, use your little mouth to kill, and kill my brother. As soon as a gangster said something disgusting, he shut up forever. No one could see what was going on, but Len Ning was already on Xiaoman's side. And the other extremely sharp end had already pierced the gangster's forehead. At this moment, Len Ning's face was full of coldness, like a demon from hell. The gangsters were terrified. However, Len Ning did not stop. In just 2 seconds, he killed another person using the same method. The others quickly began to fight back. Cursing Len Ning, he rushed towards her. Len Ning was not afraid at all. Looking for death the 2 words came out of his mouth, and he waved Xiaoman again. In less than 30 seconds, except for Huang Mao who was hiding away, the rest of the gangsters were all dead bodies on the ground. Spare your life, my aunt, spare your life. Seeing Len Ning walking towards him with a strange bloody wooden stick, Huang Mao almost peed in fear. Knowing that he couldn't run away, he simply knelt down and kowtowed to Len Ning. Say what you just said again. Len Ning mentioned Xiaoman, and when the other end of Xiaoman touched Huang Mao's forehead, it had become extremely sharp. Huang Mao's pupils were dilated and he didn't dare to move. Just now he witnessed his men being stabbed to death by this magical stick, and they died before he even had time to shout. I don't dare, please forgive me, Grandma. I don't dare anymore, I don't dare anymore. Huang Mao's forehead was covered with cold sweat, and his body was shaking like chaff. Since the end of the world, he has never felt so close to death when facing a large number of zombies. Len Ning's face turned cold. He was just about to finish off Huang Mao when he heard the sound of a car approaching. Looking up, Zheng Peng and Yuan Xing were finally back. Len Ning hesitated and took back Xiaoman. Go and squat over there, then he said to Huang Mao in disgust. There is still a lot of work in the resort, and it would be too cheap to kill him. Hey, thank you, Grandma. Huang Mao saved his life and hurriedly went to the corner and squatted down with his head in his hands. Yuan Xing and Zheng Peng have already got out of the car. Seeing the pickup truck and the bodies scattered on the ground, I roughly guessed what was going on. Seeing Huang Mao squatting in the corner, the 2 of them were a little confused. Are there any survivors? Boss, are you okay? Zheng Peng was the first to ask with concern. It's okay, the trouble has been solved. How are you doing over there? Len Ning looked at the 2 of them. The oil that was transported back has been spread into the pond. But there are too many corpses. At least 4 more barrels are needed, Yuan Xing said. Zhou Tao is still trying to figure out how to deal with the bodies in other places near the apartment. The workload is a bit heavy. There are 3 vehicles now. The van transports 2 barrels and the pickup truck transports 3 barrels. The 3 of us move together, Len Ning said in a deep voice. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 104. Take this person back to help Zhou Tao. Then, Len Ning looked at Huang Mao who was squatting beside him. Yuan Xing frowned slightly. Move, Len Ning said directly. Of course she saw Yuan Xing's worries, but these were not within her scope of consideration for the time being. Okay, Zheng Peng took action immediately. Yuan Xing didn't waste any time and immediately started doing what Len Ning said. What are you doing? Help, Len Ning looked at Huang Mao angrily. Yes, yes, Huang Mao hurriedly stepped forward to help. Not long after, all the oil drums filled with oil were put on the truck. Len Ning personally took Huang Mao into a pickup truck and drove by himself. Thanks to the guidance of her elder brother in her previous life, her driving skills are pretty good. Zhang Peng and Yuan Xing each drove 2 other cars. The 3 cars, led by Zhang Peng, headed towards the resort. The convoy entered the resort and stopped until it reached the pond where the body had been dumped. Smelling the stench, Len Ning quickly found a gauze scarf to cover his mouth and nose after parking the car. When Huang Mao got out of the car and saw a pond of corpses, his feet almost became weak with fear. How many corpses would it take to fill such a large pond? Were all these people or zombies killed by this gang? He really had his head caught in the door to provoke such a female devil. Now that it's in her hands, I don't know how to escape. Zhou Tao was transporting the body in a trolley nearby. When he heard the sound of the car, he rushed over quickly. I'll leave this person to you. Let him help you dispose of these corpses together, Len Ning said in a deep voice to Zhou Tao. Zhou Tao glanced at Huang Mao, saw that Huang Mao's face was evasive, and then looked at Len Ning in confusion. I met him at the gas station. He led a group of people and wanted to do harm to me. Except for him, I took care of everyone else, Len Ning said calmly. Even though Huang Mao looks timid now, he is not an easy character to get along with. Boss is mighty. Zhou Tao was a little shocked, and then gave Len Ning a thumbs up. I've seen the boss kill zombies very neatly before, but I didn't expect him to be so capable of killing people. Of course he is not a good person, and he only agrees with the boss's actions. Len Ning stepped forward, got close to Zhou Tao, and lowered his voice, supervise his work. If you have no other thoughts, wait until I come back to deal with it. But if I fight with you or want to escape dash. Zhou Tao looked at Len Ning. There was a chill in her eyes. Just do it and throw it in and burn it together. Zhou Tao's heart trembled. I know, he then responded. Len Ning gave Zhou Tao an encouraging look. Since he decided to be a combat-type superpower in this life, killing people was only a matter of time. And her last bit of kindness allowed her to give Huang Mao a chance. Then, Len Ning asked Yuan Xing and Zhang Peng to stay, helped unload the oil drums from the 2 cars, and drove the pickup truck he drove to the apartment. Entering the garage, Len Ning directly stored the oil drum filled with oil in the underground garage. After handling all this, Len Ning drove to find Yuan Xing and Zhang Peng. Then 3 cars carried 5 empty oil drums, and the 3 of them drove a car each and headed towards the gas station again. Don't be stunned, go get the supplies inside into the car, Len Ning said with a smile when he saw Zhang Peng guarding the oil drum that was receiving oil. Zhang Peng was stunned. Then a smile immediately appeared on his face. Yes, boss. Then he couldn't conceal his excitement and ran inside. He thought that the boss really didn't want those food supplies, but fortunately, they were not wasted. Boss, at this time, Yuan Xing walked over with a sad face. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kge Now. Chapter 105. Yeah, Len Ning responded. Yuan Xing hesitated to speak. If you have anything to say, just say it, Len Ning stopped smiling and said directly. The person who was brought back earlier, Yuan Xing finally spoke. A flash of understanding flashed across Len Ning's face. What's wrong with Huang Mao? Then he asked casually. That man is very cunning and has a problem with you. I'm worried that your kindness may cause disaster, Yuan Xing said directly. The boss is a girl after all, but her heart is still not ruthless enough. Huang Mao and his group were obviously not good people, and they were not sure if there were others in his group. If he ran away and went back to report the news, and then took people to the resort to find them, there would be endless trouble. Len Ning raised the corners of his mouth and gave Yuan Xing an appreciative look. I have said hello to Zhou Tao. If I find that he has any evil intentions, I will ask him to burn him and the corpses together, he continued. Yuan Xing was stunned and a little shocked. Then there was a burst of admiration. We are all gone, and Zhou Tao is the only one guarding him. This is his best chance to escape Len Ning's side. Therefore, there is a high probability that Huang Mao will choose to escape. But he didn't know that once he escaped, there would be only death waiting for him. She took Huang Mao back to help, firstly because there was a shortage of manpower for the work, and secondly, it gave him a small chance to be a human being. Yes, just a tiny chance of survival. If Huang Mao is willing to work hard, she will let him go when she returns. But they also put him a few kilometers away from the resort, didn't give him any weapons, and let him fend for himself. Yuan Xing nodded. I was overthinking it. Boss, this decision is a wise one, Yuan Xing said solemnly. Zhou Tao seems to be bold and the most eclectic, but in fact he has the heaviest moral baggage and is the most indecisive. This time the boss gave him the opportunity to deal with Huang Mao, probably because he wanted to test him. Len Ning smiled at Yuan Xing. Let's do something. After about half an hour, the three people loaded the oil drums and useful materials into the car. The three of them hurried back with a relaxed mood. The car had just been driving for a while when the three of them saw billowing smoke coming from the direction of the resort. It was obvious that Zhou Tao was already burning corpses. Back at the resort, 3 cars drove directly to the apartment. Zhou Tao was already waiting there at the gate. Seeing that there was no one around Zhou Tao and his face was a little gloomy, Len Ning roughly guessed what was going on. Arranging for Uncle Liang to handle the goods with Yuan Xing and Zhang Peng, Len Ning walked towards Zhou Tao. He patted Zhou Tao on the shoulder and said casually, "Would you like a drink later?" Zhou Tao was stunned. That yellow hair. Don't worry about it. Even if he doesn't escape, I will still deal with him when he comes back, Len Ning said calmly. I said this to make Zhou Tao feel better. Zhou Tao was startled again. Then there was some relief on his face. How much can you drink? Then he asked Len Ning with a smile. Have a drink, don't get drunk, Len Ning laughed. TCH. Stingy. After Len Ning chatted with Zhou Tao for a while, Uncle Liang and others came back. At this time, Zheng Gang came to ask everyone to eat. I saw that he, who was dirty and embarrassed before, had changed his clothes, and he looked much more energetic. Miss Len, Madam asked everyone to go back to eat. Seeing Len Ning, Zheng Gang hurriedly said respectfully. Zhang Peng felt relieved when he saw that Zheng Gang was in a good mood and looked satisfied. Len Ning nodded and looked at everyone. Miss, please go back and eat first. After you finish eating, someone can take my place, Uncle Liang volunteered to guard the door. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 106. Uncle Liang, I'll replace you later, Zhou Tao said immediately with a smile. And me, Yuan Xing just wanted to speak, but Zhang Peng beat him to it. Yuan Xing was stunned for a moment, and when he saw Zhang Peng smiling at him, he immediately smiled back. Yeah. Let's go, Len Ning said with a smile and took the lead to leave. Let's go, the other 4 people hurriedly followed. At the dinner table, Zhang Peng looked at the sumptuous dishes and was so moved that he almost wanted to cry. He had guessed before that the boss would have a lot of supplies, but he didn't expect there to be so much. No wonder the boss looks down on the supplies at the gas station. Those supplies are really not good compared to what the boss has here. Seeing everyone moving their chopsticks excitedly, Zhang Peng quickly moved his chopsticks too. When the food entered the mouth, touched the tongue, and stimulated the taste buds, Zhang Peng felt as if his soul had returned to his body, making him a normal human being again. After this meal, the 2 brothers of the Zheng family were extremely satisfied, and they also had more vision and hope for the future. Zhou Tao was the most eager to eat and the first to put the bowl away. I'll replace Uncle Liang, you eat slowly. Seeing Zhang Peng quickly picking up the rice after watching him put the bowl, and standing up as if he wanted to go with him, Zhou Tao hurriedly said to Zhang Peng. This brother ate even more exaggeratedly than when he and Yuan Xing came to the boss's house for the first time. Judging from the appearance of the two brothers, they must have been hungry for several days. It was really hard on him. Under such circumstances, he actually went out with the boss to do work for half a day. "No, I'll be ready soon." Zhang Peng felt a little embarrassed and was about to put the rice in the bowl after finishing it. "You can eat in peace. Just let Zhou Tao go first," Yuan Xing said. Len Ning also gave Zhang Peng a keep eating look. "Eat slowly, don't be in a hurry." Zhou Tao also had a smile on his face. Zhang Peng felt warm in his heart and sat down again. "Thank you." After saying this, Zhang Peng burst into tears. At this time, he was extremely grateful that the Manman team could take him and his eldest brother in, give them a place to live, and eat such delicious food. They are all from the Manman team. "If you say this, you will be outspoken." Zhou Tao patted Zhang Peng on the shoulder. "Come to me after eating and tell you some of the glorious deeds of our Manman team." "Okay," Zhang Peng agreed quickly. Zhou Tao nodded and left. In the afternoon, Zhou Tao and Zhang Peng were on duty. Using this time, Zhou Tao told Zhang Peng everything about the Manman team and Len Ning. Then he told Zhang Peng about the knowledge he knew about the end of the world, and Zhang Peng was surprised and admired. Len Ning personally visited Iron Gate in the afternoon and delivered 20 green crystal cores to Zhang Peng. Zhou Tao said the boss is biased, but he still enthusiastically told Zhang Peng how to absorb the crystal core. Zhang Peng's talent and strength are not low, and he did not live up to Len Ning's expectations. He reached the second level in one fell swoop and became the last superpower user in the Manman team to reach the second level. The next day, Len Ning was bored and took Zhang Peng out to go hunting in the resort. In the current resort, there are very few original zombies. Especially the area near the apartment was almost completely clean after Zhou Tao's last cleaning yesterday. The two of them walked out for almost 50 meters before finally seeing a wandering corpse. When Yu Ji saw Len Ning and Zhang Peng, he screamed excitedly and ran towards them. "Try it, use the wind power and move the wind blade over." Seeing Zhang Peng's eyes looking a little frightened, Len Ning said in a deep voice. "Thank you so much for the gift." 3. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 107. Zhang Peng clenched the dagger in his hand, feeling that it might be more efficient to use the dagger directly to solve the problem. Of course Len Ning noticed Zhang Peng's reaction. "If you don't give it a try, how will you know if it works?" Then he said with a smile, "The wind element is a very powerful combat ability. It can be used for long-range attacks. You have to make good use of it." "Okay," Zhang Peng agreed. Then, as Len Ning said, he gathered his mental power and mobilized his wind power to form a wind blade. Seeing the zombie getting closer and closer, Zhang Peng panicked and hurriedly threw the wind blade at the zombie. The wind blade happened to hit the zombie, but due to improper operation, it did not cause much damage. Len Ning took action in time and released Xiaoman to wrap the zombies into a rice dumpling, thus preventing the zombies from rushing towards him. Seeing that the wind blade he had condensed only cut open the zombies' clothes, Zhang Peng's face was filled with frustration. Continue. Len Ning turned back and looked at Zhang Peng. Zhang Peng was stunned. Then he nodded. Then he used his mental power again. After 3 consecutive failures, this time Zhang Peng's condensed wind blade finally succeeded in piercing the zombie's head. Len Ning finally took Xiaoman back and gave Zhang Peng an appreciative look. Zhang Peng scratched his head, a little embarrassed. "Go and see if this zombie has a crystal core," Len Ning continued. Yes, Zhang Peng hurried over. Zombie crystal nuclei usually grow on the left temple, and very few grow on the right side. When checking, you can check the left side first, Len Ning reminded. Okay, Zhang Peng quickly pierced the zombie's left temple with the dagger. I felt a hard object inside, and my face immediately lit up with joy. With a gentle pull, what appeared was a transparent crystal core. Len Ning was stunned for a moment, thinking that this kid was pretty lucky. Taking out the crystal core, Zhang Peng quickly put the crystal core on the zombie's clothes and wiped it. Then I felt it wasn't clean enough, so I just put it on my clothes and wiped it a few times. Len Ning was a little confused. Should I say he likes to be clean, or is he sloppy? Boss, the colorless crystal core is for you. I saw Zhang Peng happily walking towards Len Ning with the crystal core in his hand. Keep it for yourself, Len Ning refused with a smile. It's still early, do you dare to follow me to a farther place to hunt zombies? Len Ning continued. During this time, they mainly move around in the area between the supermarket and the apartment, and haven't visited the farm yet. Although there is no shortage of fresh vegetables on the table now, they are all the bean sprouts she distributed. After eating a few more meals, I felt a little tired. In addition, there was no more meat in the refrigerator, and there was not much left of the bacon that her mother had cured before. She was still thinking about when to get some meat products. In addition to numerous vegetables, fruits, and other crops, the farm also has a small poultry breeding base. More than half a month has passed since the end of the world, and I don't know if any poultry has survived. Well, since she had nothing to do this afternoon, she might as well take Zhang Peng to check out the situation. Follow the boss, what's wrong with you? Zhang Peng had a look of expectation on his face. He had just found the trick to gather the wind blades, and was worried that he would not have a chance to practice. Okay, let's go. Len Ning walked forward with a gleam in his eyes. Zhang Peng hurriedly followed. Along the way, the two of them encountered a few stray corpses here and there. Len Ning directly gave Zhang Peng all the opportunities to practice, without even thinking about taking action. After some hard work, Zhang Peng became more and more proficient in using his wind powers. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 108. After killing 5 more zombies, he had completely mastered the use of his own powers. The two finally arrived at the farm entrance. Looking at the dilapidated farm gate, Len Ning sighed in his heart. However, it had only been no one maintained for more than half a month, and the place was already in such a dilapidated state. Let's go and see if we can get some supplies, Len Ning said, jumped over the fence and entered the farm. Zhang Peng quickly turned over and went in to follow. He lives nearby and often comes to the resort to work part-time during holidays. Of course he knows that there are many good things in this farm. This was actually one of the reasons why he decided to take his eldest brother to join Len Ning in the resort. He thought that even if he failed to defect, with such a big farm, he and his eldest brother would not starve to death. Entering the farm, Len Ning quickly saw rows of cultivated fields growing vegetables. Because there has been no maintenance for more than half a month, the weeds in the field have grown very tall, and some of them have even reached the height of the vegetables. You can pick some eggplants and beans and take them back, Len Ning said while looking at them. Yes, Zhang Peng said nothing and was ready to take action. No hurry, let's go to the poultry base first. What she wants to eat most is meat, and she hopes to have this luck. Okay, Zhang Peng's eyes lit up, his throat moved, and he couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Then, the two walked towards the poultry base. Along the way, the two of them encountered a total of 8 wandering corpses. Zhang Peng solved the problem with ease and did not let Len Ning worry at all. Seeing Zhang Peng growing up so fast, Len Ning felt happy. The poultry base is ahead, and there must be a lot of zombies inside. Let's be careful, or retreat if it doesn't work. Len Ning stopped and said to Zhang Peng. Zombies chase living creatures. Although poultry is not as attractive as humans to zombies, these living creatures are already extremely attractive to zombies. Before the end of the world, there were many living creatures in this base, and I don't know how many zombies it attracted. Yes, Zhang Peng immediately nodded seriously. Len Ning glanced at Zhang Peng before walking towards the base gate. Entering the base, Len Ning discovered several semi-corrupted corpses. These corpses were badly broken, with scattered body tissues everywhere, and they looked like they had been torn apart by wild beasts. The further inside he went, the more corpses he saw frightened Len Ning. Because all the corpses she saw had basically the same tragic appearance, and the number had reached more than 20. Suddenly, a shadow quickly passed in front of Len Ning. "Boss, just now." Zhang Pen looked pale and whispered to Len Ning. Len Ning made a gesture to tell Zhang Pen not to speak. She also saw the shadow, but she didn't see clearly what it was. Seeing Len Ning looking around warily, Zhang Pen did not dare to continue talking to disturb Len Ning. "Hurry, gather your mental strength and maintain a defensive state." Soon, a shadow came over again. Len Ning's eyes turned cold and he released Xiaoman instantly. With a scream of pain, Xiaoman returned to Len Ning's hands. Looking at Xiaoman's end with black blood, Len Ning was sure that the thing just now was an animal and had turned into a zombie. Animals, like humans, can also become zombies. After some ferocious animals become zombies, they are often more difficult to deal with than human zombies. Now they are afraid that they have encountered such ferocious animal zombies. Suddenly the black shadow appeared again. Len Ning's eyes changed, and he instantly dodged to avoid the attack. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 109. A zombie dog about 1 meter long jumped into the air and landed at Len Ning's previous position. "Protect yourself," Len Ning said to Zhang Peng, then raised Xiaoman and headed towards the zombie dog. Zombie dogs are very fast and have an amazing bite force. Xiaoman failed to attack twice in a row. When he attacked again, a vine was bitten off by the zombie dog. "I really have to admire the biting power of this thing's teeth." Xiaoman's vines were so tough that Len Ning couldn't break them even with all his strength. And even if you use a dagger to cut it, you can't break it in less than a minute. And this zombie dog actually bit off the vines with one mouthful. If such terrifying force were applied to a living person, the flesh would be ripped off the human bones in less than a second. Fortunately, Xiaoman felt no pain, and the vines could regenerate, otherwise Len Ning would have been really distressed. Knowing that this zombie dog is very difficult to deal with, Len Ning stopped thinking. 2 slender vines sprouted directly from the vine that Xiaoman had bitten off by the zombie dog, wrapping the zombie dog into a cocoon. While the zombie dog was struggling, a slender and sharp vine quickly headed towards its forehead. Then there was the sound of a sharp object hitting the bone. The zombie dog let out a scream and finally died completely. Len Ning breathed a sigh of relief and took Xiaoman back. At the same time, many zombie chickens flew around. Zhang Peng activated his wind power to resist. But these zombie chickens can fly and are much more flexible than human zombies. It is difficult for Zhang Peng's attack to be effective. Len Ning hurriedly urged Xiaoman to help kill the zombie chickens that besieged Zhang Peng. "Quickly retreat." Hearing the commotion not far away, Len Ning hurriedly rushed to Zhang Peng. She had made things simple. This place had long been occupied by zombies, and most of them were animal zombies. Let alone she and Zhang Peng alone now, even if the Manman team came together, it would be difficult to cope with it. "Okay," Zhang Peng said while dealing with the zombie chicken. Then hurriedly evacuated to the entrance of the poultry base. Len Ning accelerated Xiaoman, killed the zombie chickens flying towards her one after another, and then retreated to the entrance of the poultry base. After that, he and Zhang Peng ran towards the center of the farm in a panic. After the zombie chickens chasing out of the poultry base were eliminated by Len Ning, the pursuers were finally gone. Looking at Zhang Peng, who was breathing heavily and lying facelessly on the grass, Len Ning couldn't help but laugh. Boss, why are you laughing?" Zhang Peng was shocked and admired Len Ning's mentality very much. "It's nothing. I just feel a little excited." Len Ning still had a smile on his face. Such a thrilling life used to be something she was extremely afraid of, but now all that's left is excitement. In fact, there is nothing wrong with living like this. At least the occasional accelerated heartbeat will make her truly feel that she is still alive. Exciting, Zhang Peng's tone changed. Suddenly I realized that my boss was a little abnormal. I thought I would be lucky enough to get a few chickens to go back and eat meat, but now I have no hope. Len Ning ignored Zhang Peng and sighed as he looked in the direction of the poultry base. Zhang Peng. Shouldn't we be glad that they escaped alive at this time? Still thinking about catching chickens and eating meat? Boss, let's pick some vegetables and go back. Beans and eggplants are also delicious. In order to prevent Len Ning from having any terrible thoughts, Zhang Peng said quickly. Len Ning finally turned around and looked at Zhang Peng. Is there no place to get meat around here? Then he asked unwillingly, even if I can get some eggs, that would be great. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 110. A flash of light suddenly flashed in Zhang Peng's eyes. How is it? Len Ning immediately asked with interest. I heard from Boss Zhang of the seed shop before that 3 cows were introduced to the west of the farm. He said he wanted tourists to experience milking on the spot. I heard it was very popular. Zhang Peng spoke hesitantly. If the cows were not attacked by zombies, even 1 cow would be enough for them to eat for a long time. After hearing this, Len Ning's eyes gleamed. Then what are you waiting for? Take a look, he said and raised his feet. Hey, wait for me, boss. Zhang Peng hurriedly chased the person. Len Ning took Zhang Peng all the way west, and after a short walk they arrived at the farm where the cows were raised. This is a small house that is enclosed. There is a sign at the door with the words dairy breeding base written on it. Let's go in and have a look. Seeing that it was not an open-air place, Len Ning felt a little more excited. Zhang Peng felt a little sad. After what happened at the poultry base before, he was really afraid that he would encounter cow zombies later. Cows are much bigger than chickens, ducks, and dogs. If they turn into zombies, they will be even more difficult to deal with. Len Ning didn't care about Zhang Peng's concerns at all and went straight into the dairy breeding base. A flash of hesitation flashed across Zhang Peng's face, but he still followed in. After entering the door, what comes into view is a small courtyard of more than 10 square meters. There are some knickknacks for tourists to buy and use in the yard, as well as some dried grass. It was obvious that there were people guarding and operating this place before the end of the world. GG. Suddenly, a cold voice came. Len Ning followed his gaze and saw 2 zombies wearing farm work clothes walking towards them quickly. Throwing out Xiaoman, Len Ning took care of the 2 zombies without much effort. By the way, 2 transparent crystal nuclei were also retrieved. Let's go in and see if the cow is still there. Len Ning smiled and put the crystal core into his pocket and continued walking in. After walking around a short corridor, Len Ning finally came to an open area. An open pasture surrounded by high walls appeared in front of them. The pasture was evenly divided into 3 pieces, with partitions set up in the middle of each 2 pieces, and a cow was placed in each piece. Iron fences were also set up outside each plot of land. There were 3 zombies excitedly extending their hands to the cows inside, but unfortunately they were weak and unable to destroy the iron gate. Boss, Zhang Peng's eyes flashed with joy when he saw this. Kill 1 and keep the other 2 to drink milk, Len Ning calculated. What an unexpected surprise. She originally thought it would be a surprise to have 1 cow survive, but she didn't expect that all 3 were still alive. Because Len Ning spoke a little loudly, he actually attracted the attention of the 3 zombies. When they saw 2 big living people appearing, they immediately ran towards Len Ning and Zhang Peng crazily, not caring about the cows they couldn't eat. Len Ning raised the corner of his mouth and rushed directly towards the zombies. Then the battle ended in 3 or 2 strokes. Stepping over the corpses of the zombies, Len Ning hurriedly looked at his cows. Because no one has taken care of them for a long time, the 3 cows have eaten almost all the grass growing in the pasture. At the same time, there is a lot of feces in the bare pastures and the sanitary environment is very poor. The cows seem to be in poor spirits and very thin. "Boss, what should I do?" Zhang Peng asked Len Ning with a smile. "I'll kill the cow, and you clean up the feces inside," Len Ning said directly. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Qi Now. Chapter 111. The expression on Zhang Peng's face suddenly froze. Sweeping poop, poop. "There are tools in the utility room in the corridor, go ahead." Len Ning pretended not to see Zhang Peng's expression and continued. "There are only 2 of them. If he doesn't clean, why should he be allowed to do it?" "Well, she'd rather slaughter the cow." "Yes." Zhang Peng reluctantly agreed. Then he went to work. Len Ning chose the smallest one among the 3 cows, used a dagger to break the lock on the iron fence door, and walked in. Then he took action directly. By the time Zhang Peng came back with the cleaning tools, Len Ning was already directing Xiaoman to cut the beef. Not much of the cow's blood was spilled, and most of it was caught by Len Ning in the bucket where the cows drank water. The cow was lying peacefully on the ground, and its body had been cut into several parts by Xiaoman. Zhang Peng looked at the scene and was so surprised that he was speechless. The boss's spiritual pet is so powerful that it can not only be used as a weapon, but can also be used to cut meat. "Don't be stunned, hurry up and pack up. We have to get back before dark." She was still waiting for the beef dinner in the evening. "Oh, yes." Zhang Peng quickly got busy. About 40 minutes later, Len Ning finally packed away the cow's meat. The site was also cleaned to prevent secondary pollution. Zhang Peng finally finished the cleaning work. "I just saw a cart outside. Let's put the meat on it and push it back." Len Ning looked at the meat and said. "Okay. I'll carry the meat," Zhang Peng volunteered. Len Ning nodded. Zhang Peng immediately took 4 pieces of beef and walked outside. Len Ning gathered his mental power and began to stimulate the rapid growth of the grass in the pasture where the remaining 2 cows were. It's also a good thing that cows are herbivores, otherwise she wouldn't be able to feed them. Len Ning's current wood power has reached the middle stage of the 3rd level, and the mental power released with all his strength is enough to make plants with weak vitality like grass grow rapidly in a short period of time. When Zhang Peng rushed back to continue taking the meat, he immediately noticed something unusual. The pasture that was bare just now was now green. After sighing in his heart at the strength of his boss, Zhang Peng took the time to continue working. When Zhang Peng finished moving the meat, Len Ning also put away his mental power. Although there is not enough pasture in the pen due to local restrictions, it is enough for the 2 cows to eat for at least 2 days. "Let's do this for now. Let's come back tomorrow," Len Ning said to Zhang Peng. "I did a lot of things today, which took a lot of mental energy out of me." It wasn't a long journey back, so she had to take her time. The beef that is processed later will have a certain smell, and zombies that are close to you may smell the smell and follow you. They couldn't let the beef she worked so hard for be ruined by them. "Okay." Zhang Peng nodded quickly. Then, the 2 locked the door and left the dairy breeding base with the beef. On the way back, the 2 of them were smiling. "When passing by the vegetable base, I picked a lot of vegetables and put them in the cart." After leaving the farm smoothly, the 2 of them relaxed unconsciously. Then we walked for a while and rushed back to the apartment. Uncle Liang at the door was surprised and happy when he saw Zhang Peng pushing back a cart of meat. He quickly came to help and helped deliver the meat upstairs. That night, under Zhou Tao's strong suggestion, everyone gathered together to have a hot beef hot pot meal. Everyone at the table was talking and laughing, maybe because the hot pot was too spicy, and they felt warm in their hearts.